On Thursday, legislators were joined by representatives of businesses with offices in Massachusetts to discuss a bill proposing universal paid family leave in the Commonwealth through a state-run fund. The elected officials were supporting the initiative, and the business representatives were from companies who already offer the benefit but at their own cost. State Rep Ken Gordon, who filed the bill, came by BCAT Studios later in the day to explain it.
On a bill that I filed, which calls for paid family and medical leave for every employee in the Commonwealth, which will give our workers an opportunity to be with their family during times of joy, which would be the birth of a child or adoption of a child, and also during the times of an illness of a child or parent, a spouse or other family member, so they can be together during severe illness such as hospitalization.
So how does it work, and who would pay for it?
Bill calls for the funding to be done through employers contributing to a fund, a trust fund that would be administered by the state treasurer, so that, similar to, say, unemployment insurance, that everyone would put in a little bit based on the number of employees that they have. And our estimate that we've got from a preliminary report is it would be about $3.25 per employee per week. So that would equate, when you do the math, times 52, a little more than $200 a year per employee. But we're also working on the bill, making some changes that I'm sure will be made before it's released from committee. And so with these adjustments, that number could go up or down. We're also looking at some states have the funding done by employees instead of employers. So through payroll deduction, that would work like Social Security. And we're also looking at whether there's a hybrid, whether some of it is employer funded, some of it is employee funded.
How would an employee draw from the fund? Gordon said that if people were out of work for more than a week due to sickness or a new child, and that the claims were verified, they could apply to the state to receive the benefit.
With your next pay period, you would get a percentage of your salary, not all of it, probably about half. The percentages range from about 30% to 60%. 60% is for the people making the least, and 30 the most. So what it's there for is to tide people over so that they can pay their rent or their mortgage while they're out caring for a sick child, or while they're bonding with a newborn or a newly adopted child.
At the forum, the business representatives said that even if the funds had to be supplied by companies, the overall benefits in employee retention and morale, among other things, made it worthwhile. U.S. Deputy Secretary of Labor Chris Liu, who was in from Washington, D.C. for the conference, summed up some of those points and encouraged those in the audience to support the bill.
That there are many folks that are here who are legislative staff, and so I want you to go back to your bosses and recite some of the statistics. I was just scribbling because I'm going to take them back. Liz, I think you said you had a 50% increase in new mother retention. Beth, you gave that's a 50% increase in mother retention. Beth, I heard you say it takes 150% of the salary to replace an employee. Nick, you gave a comparable. What was the statistic you gave?
Between 2 and 3 times their annual salary.
Between 2 and 3 times your annual salary. And then obviously you heard Elisa's presentation about increased morale, productivity, lower turnover. This is the business case for this. And these are companies, small and large, that tell you, on balance, this saves money.
Gordon said a state fund providing the benefit rather than having companies do so on a case-by-case basis would make Massachusetts more competitive, especially in the high-tech field.
Helps Massachusetts because we're a high-tech state. In fact, we were just named by Bloomberg the #1 innovation state in the nation. And the high-tech businesses are the ones that are providing this paid family leave for their employees. Many of them are based in California. And so when our Massachusetts high-tech businesses are competing for the best and the brightest employees, and they're competing against these California companies are offering paid medical and family leave through a fund. They're paying pennies per hour for this benefit, while we're paying the full benefit.
Finally, one of the business representatives said it's not always about the bottom line, and that offering paid leave is the right thing to do.
So I offer paid leave because it's important for my little community. And then I see it in my employees. We had a woman, some of you have heard this story, but we had a woman last year who was pregnant with twins. She got this crazy medical condition where she couldn't eat or drink for 6 weeks, and she had to be hospitalized and fed strictly through an IV. And then she had premature twins, and they were stuck in the NICU while their lungs developed. And so I think the argument against paid leave goes something like, wow, I should have replaced her because that would have been easier on my business because I could have had somebody working more quickly. But I just can't live with that choice.
At the Massachusetts State House, I'm B News Director Rich Hosford. Back to you in the studio.